when I'm filming this, it is the end of April, which means we have yet another reading wrap-up video. In April, I read a total of 10 books, which is pretty good for me, so let's get into my ratings and reviews. Also, if you're interested, all the books that I'll be talking about in this video will be linked down in the description. Let's start off with some romance. So first up, I read the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez. This has been on my list for so long. This is actually the second book to the Friendzone series, and fingers crossed that I get to the third one soon. I rated this a 4 stars. I loved finally getting Sloane's story. If you plan on reading this book, I highly recommend reading the Friendzone first, just because you get a lot of her backstory, and there's an event that happens in that book that you kind of need for this one. This book is one of those books that you just can't take too seriously, and you just gotta have a little bit of fun reading it, which I definitely did. And I thought that the storyline was actually pretty unique. I haven't read a book that followed the beginning plot that this one had. Basically, Sloane stumbles upon a dog who has gotten away from their owner. She calls the number on the dog tag multiple times, doesn't hear anything, and then when he finally calls her back, she decides she wants to keep the dog, because why would he deserve the dog when he can't even manage to take care of it? And I thought it was really cute. A few parts were kind of predictable, a little cheesy, if you will, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm very excited to read Life's Too Short next. Next up, we had a miss. I read The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas, which is the second book to, what is it called? The Spanish Love Deception. And now, I don't know what my thought process was here, because I didn't really enjoy The Spanish Love Deception, so why I thought to pick this up, no idea. I wound up giving this book a 2 stars just because I really didn't enjoy majority of the plot, and I wound up skimming past a good chunk of the ending. This book continues right after The Spanish Love Deception with Lena's cousin Lucas and her best friend Rosie. And normally I really like that trope, but it just didn't do it for me in this one. The only reason that this is a 2 star for me is because there was a few lines that had me giggling, but way too many lines that had me cringing, so not for me, and that's okay. Next up is a very controversial book, actually. I finally picked up Funny Story by Emily Henry, and this is not at all what I thought it was gonna be. I did just finish this book recently, so I'm still kind of sitting on my opinion and my rating. I still don't really know how to feel. I'm thinking I'm going to give it around a 3.75. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was really fast-paced. But for an Emily Henry book, I was really not expecting the main love interest to be a druggie. But as we all know, or probably know, Emily Henry is known for her writing style and just the lines and quotes that she has. And I will say, I wish I actually went back and underlined some of these quotes, because there was some really good ones. I will say it did make me cringe a little bit. Just a little bit. At some parts. But the plot of this book follows Daphne and Miles, and Daphne's fiance starts dating Miles's ex-girlfriend, right? Yes. So Daphne decides to move in with Miles, and they kind of are just roommates until they're not. And I thought a lot of the scenes with them together actually made sense, like in the real world, like that would actually happen. And I thought a lot of them were really sweet and cute and had me smiling at parts. But overall, not my favorite read, but not too bad. Next up, I fully listened to this book on audiobook, and it was Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searle. I've been trying to read her whole backlist because I'm very conflicted on her as an author. I gave one book 5 stars, one book 1 stars, and this one I gave 4.5. I actually really loved the premise of this book. Our main character, basically her entire life when it comes to relationships and guys in her life, she has discovered little bits of paper that says the guy's name as well as a date. I think it's a date, or maybe days. I think it's a date, right? Expiration date. And basically the day that is on that piece of paper is how long their relationship is going to last, which I've never heard of that concept for a novel, and I really enjoyed it. Something about her writing style too, I just really enjoy her books for the most part. And I kind of just picked this one up on a whim. I didn't know anything about it, and I wound up really enjoying it. This next book, on the other hand, this one broke me. I finally read my first Kristen Hanna book, and it will certainly not be my last. Let me just say that. I finally read The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I was so intimidated by how thick this book was. I did also listen to the audiobook with this one. So good. So good. I was so afraid also to pick up a historical fiction because I am not a history buff. I'm not a history person. It's not for me. This book is 1000% for me. I can't tell if this is a 5-star read or a 4.75. I simply cannot. I adore the characters, the setting, the plot line made me want to go like this a few times, but just a few. I love the mother-daughter relationship, seeing our main character Lenny as she grows up in Alaska and how she learns everything around her, how her childhood is just so different compared to an average child. And like I said, this book is over 530 pages, and I quite literally binged probably almost 300 pages in one day to finish this book because I could not put it down. I was obsessed with it, eating it up. I love this book. I have another book on my physical TBR written by this author, and I want to pick it up right now so badly. There's just simply not enough time in the day to get through how many books I want to read. But someday. Highly recommend this book. It made me cry, it made me laugh, it made me feel all the feels. So, highly recommend. Next up are mystery/thrillers. Starting off with Holly Jackson's 5 Survive. I actually really enjoyed this one. I really didn't know what to expect from this one. I gave this book 4 stars, and honestly, the back of the book really explains it well. It says 8 hours, 6 friends, and 5 survive. Red Kenny is on a road trip for spring break with 5 friends, her best friend and her older brother, his perfect girlfriend, Red's secret crush, a classmate, and a killer. When their RV breaks down in the middle of nowhere with no cell service, they soon realize this is no accident. They've been trapped by someone out there in the dark, someone who clearly wants them dead. With 8 hours until dawn, the 6 friends must escape or figure out which one of them is the target. This book was insanely fast-paced, and I also really loved, if I could find it, how each section starts off with a time. I really enjoyed that. And after reading the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, I kind of wanted to read more of her writing, so maybe I'll have to pick up her next book soon. Speaking of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, I finally finished off the series by reading Killjoy. I gave this book 4 stars. It was just a cute little novella. Honestly, it wasn't what I was expecting, but I thought it was kind of fun, kind of getting the little bit of backstory of how Pip went into wanting to solve the main case that was in the first book. It was short, it was good. I recommend it if you read the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy, and yeah. I don't really have too much to say on it. For my next read, I actually wound up scrolling all the way down on Goodreads to try and figure out what were some of the first books that I added to my TBR. And one of the first books that I added was, in fact, Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. And now, I was saying how I wanted to finish a bunch of series that I started, and now I'm starting quite a long series. I know. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I thought it was really cute. It was a good YA read, and I loved the setting of this place. It felt so atmospheric reading it. It takes place at a place called Ellingham Academy, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere in Vermont. And we actually get 2 separate murder cases in this book, one that takes place in the present and one that takes place when the school was first started. There wasn't too many crazy plot twists in this one, and it was a little bit predictable, but it is also a YA novel. But I will say, the plot twist on the very last page did in fact get me, which makes me very intrigued to continue on the series, so hopefully I'll get to that next month. Speaking of starting another series, I did it again with, a book that's been on my TBR for a very, very long time. I saw one of my friends in high school reading this book, and I had to pick it up just based off of her reactions, which is These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. The cover of this book is stunning. It is so pretty. It is a fantasy novel, and I think there's 4 books in the series, which, considering it's a fantasy book, most fantasies are not standalone, they are series, so it makes sense. I love and adore the characters in this series. I thought everything just fit together so well, and I'm very interested to see where the next book's gonna go. But the main plot of this book is our main character, Bree, and she has made a deal with the devil, hypothetically, to try and get her sister back. And with that, she might need to become a queen. She might need to do some illegal things, and she might do some things that she may regret. But I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked it. I thought it was fun, and I'm excited to see where we're gonna go from here. And last but not least, I read one memoir, which was Homework, a Memoir of My Hollywood Years by Julie Andrews. Now, if you don't know who Julie Andrews is, she has been in so many movies. She's been in Mary Poppins, in The Sound of Music, Princess Diaries so many movies. And I didn't know this before picking this up, but this is actually about just her Hollywood years, and she has another memoir to talk about some of her more personal things. And this is kind of more about her like acting and singing career. If you couldn't tell already, or if you didn't know already, I am such a big film kid. I love everything to do with film and movies and watching movies, and I love to know about actors and actresses past and all the life experiences that have gotten them to where they are now. And obviously, Hollywood is not an easy place to go to and can really take a toll on you, so I really loved her perspective and seeing all the different outcomes of her life choices. And yeah, overall, I really liked this one. Also, there's something about her voice that is so soothing, so if you do read this book, I would highly recommend the audiobook. And something fun about this memoir that not a lot of memoirs have is she actually has pictures of some of the things that she's describing and some of the things that she did in her younger years, which I think is just so much fun to see pictures to what she was saying, because I am 4 and I love a good picture book. But overall, she has had a pretty amazing life, and although she didn't talk about Princess Diaries in this book, I am so excited to go and watch the 3rd one that's coming out soon. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. But those are all the books that I read in the month of April. If you guys have read any of the books or want to read any of the books, let me know down in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe for more bookish content coming soon, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.